The moment your paycheck lands, you are not getting paid. You are standing in a switchyard. Most people do not understand that. They think payday is relief. They think payday is permission. They think payday is proof that the month can start over. I think payday is exposure. It is the brief moment when your financial character is visible before your habits hide it again. You do not stay broke because your paycheck is small. Plenty of people with decent incomes stay trapped for decades. You stay broke because every time a new train of cash rolls into your life, you let appetite grab the lever before judgment does. That is the first brutality you need to accept. For a few seconds after the money arrives, your future is still unassigned. It has not yet been turned into rent, food, debt reduction, emergency reserves, ownership, freedom, or waste. It is still just moving power, directionless power. And directionless power is dangerous because it always rolls downhill toward impulse. This is where most people lose the game before the month even begins. They do not say it out loud, but the mind starts spending before the bank app finishes loading. A better phone, more takeout, a weekend trip, shoes that somehow felt unnecessary yesterday and urgent today. One small reward for working so hard, then another, then a few subscriptions that do not feel like spending because they are quiet, then a coffee habit that feels too small to matter, then dinners that are explained away as social oxygen, then a little fatigue spending because you had a rough week and you deserve convenience. That is how a train gets stolen in daylight. Not by one spectacular theft, but by 100 polite hands. I have spent my life allocating capital. Businesses rise or fall on allocation. Families do too. You can call it budgeting if you like. I do not. Budgeting sounds soft. Budgeting sounds like trimming around the edges. Allocation is a harder word. Allocation is the decision to tell $1 yes and another dollar no. Allocation is the decision to make one track live and another track die. If you want to build wealth, the first thing you must understand is that a paycheck is not a reward for surviving another pay period. It is your future freedom delivered in installments, a little piece of autonomy, a little piece of refusal power, a little piece of the day when you no longer bend your whole life around bills, managers, and random emergencies. When you spend that carelessly, you are not buying small pleasures. You are liquidating future options. Most people approach money backward. They pay everybody else first: landlord, lender, streaming services, delivery apps, car lender, coffee shop, random merchant with a clean checkout page and a well-lit offer. They hand out slices until nothing meaningful remains. Then they say they will save what is left. There is almost never anything left. That is not bad luck. That is physics. If you pour water into a bucket with a hole in the bottom, the problem is not that you need more water. The problem is that you never respected the bucket. A paycheck without routing is the same thing. Income enters, leakage takes over. Then the owner of the bucket wonders why he is thirsty. So I want you to think like an operator standing over a rail map. Every payday, one train arrives. Your job is not to admire it. Your job is to route it. The first track is survival. Real survival, not emotional survival, not social survival, not lifestyle maintenance. Survival housing, food that keeps you alive, utilities that keep the lights on, basic transportation, basic health care, the things that protect the organism. Notice what is not on that list. The expensive car you explain to yourself as a professional necessity. The premium package you never truly use. The gym membership you keep as a memorial to your intentions. The daily convenience spending you rename productivity fuel. The subscriptions you forgot about so completely that forgetting became your business model. Most people lie at this stage. They do not lie to me. They lie to themselves. They take wants and dress them up as needs because the truth would require a smaller ego or a cheaper life. If more than about 60% of your take home pay is going to true necessities, then one of two things is happening. Either you live inside a cost structure your income cannot comfortably support, or you are taking luxuries and granting them diplomatic immunity. That line matters. It matters because without it, the rest of the map is fantasy. Let me make it plain. Suppose you earn $75,000 a year, and after taxes roughly $4,750 reaches your account each month. Say your rent is $1,800, your car payment is $400, your food costs are $500. You are at $2,700 before the month has had the chance to misbehave. That is about 57% of take. Home pay, not pleasant, not easy, but survivable, especially in a more expensive area. Now here is where the self-deception begins. The same person will say he is barely hanging on, while money keeps sliding into restaurant meals, silent subscriptions, convenience spending, routine shopping, and fatigue purchases. He does not feel wealthy, so he assumes he is disciplined. That assumption is poison. Feeling squeezed and being well-routed are not the same thing. The point is not to make you feel guilty for being human. The point is to make you stop treating confusion as innocence. You are too old for that. If you want freedom, you need precision. Know your necessity percentage. Not roughly, not spiritually. Exactly. Because the moment you know what survival truly costs, the switchyard becomes visible. You can see how much of your cash train is already committed to keeping the machine alive and how much is available to change your future. Until then, you are wandering through fog, calling it complexity. Once the survival track is clear, the second track is reputation. I am talking about debt payments, minimums, due dates, your credit profile. Many people hear that and their eyes glaze over because it sounds administrative. Good. Let the careless people glaze over. Administration is where civilizations are won. Your credit score is not morality. It is not a measure of your worth. It is a market signal about whether you are predictable. And in a credit-based system, predictability has cash value. The strange thing about the credit system is that it is both harsh and simple. You can do 97% of something correctly in school and get praise. Do it in credit management and the system may punish you like a fool. One missed payment can be more expensive than months of small lifestyle indulgences. One lazy oversight can raise future borrowing costs, shrink options, and quietly tax you for years. You do not need to admire this system. You do need to understand it. When I say root your paycheck, I mean protect your financial reputation before you entertain yourself. Minimum payments are not victory. They are track maintenance. They keep the trains moving without wreckage. Late fees, penalty rates, and credit damage are what happen when adults decide that precision is optional. Pay what must be paid on time, every time. Not because debt deserves worship, because disorder is expensive. Now we come to the part people always postpone because it feels boring. Emergency reserves. They hate this because it does not flatter them. Buying stocks flatters them. Talking about side hustles flatters them. Imagining explosive upside flatters them. Putting cash into a dull, liquid reserve account feels like watching paint age. And yet the people without reserves are the ones living at the mercy of every random Tuesday. The car breaks, the laptop dies, the dog needs surgery, a job disappears, a roommate leaves, a medical bill arrives with the tone of a hostage note. Then what? Then your long-term plan gets mugged by short-term chaos. Then your credit card becomes your emergency fund, which means your emergency becomes a profit center for somebody else. That is not just a money problem. That is a dignity problem. I want 3 to 6 months of true living expenses in a boring, liquid, insured account. Boring is not failure here. Boring is the feature. This money is not applying for hero status. It is applying for availability. If your necessities are $2,700 a month, then a proper reserve is something like $8,100 to $16,200. That number scares people because they think every useful number must be assembled immediately. It does not. It must be pursued deliberately. What matters is that you build the ballast before the storm. An emergency fund is not there to impress anybody. It is there to stop one bad week from becoming one bad decade. It lets you say no to panic. It lets you wait instead of beg. It lets you repair a problem without detonating the rest of your system. When you have real reserves, your posture changes. You sleep differently. You walk into work differently. You make fewer frightened decisions. You are not free yet, but you are no longer naked. That matters more than most people understand. Now, once survival is handled, reputation is protected, and reserves are under construction, we move to the only track that actually changes your class over time: ownership. This is the dividing line between people who will always need the next paycheck and people who are slowly training capital to work while they sleep. If your employer offers a retirement match, take it. Do not debate it like a philosopher. Do not postpone it like a child. Take it. People love to complicate obvious advantages because obvious advantages feel too easy. But a company match is one of the rare places in life where someone offers to double a piece of your money on day one and the public still manages to behave like it is optional. If you make $60,000 and your employer matches 3%, then putting in $1,800 a year can pull another $1,800 out of the company. That is a 100% return before the market has had the courtesy to do anything at all. Many people spend more time researching a phone case than deciding whether to accept free money. That is not a knowledge problem. That is a seriousness problem. Beyond the match, get to around 10% of gross income invested for retirement, if you can, more if your life can support it. But do not miss the deeper point. The genius is not in heroic contributions. The genius is in starting before your emotions feel ready. Time matters more than intensity at the beginning. If someone invests $300 a month from age 25 and earns around 8% annually, he can end up with roughly $1 million by 65. Wait until 35 to start the exact same monthly habit, and the ending result can be closer to $400,000. A 10 Your delay can cost you around $600,000, not because the world hates you, but because compounding is brutally loyal to early action. This is why waiting to feel sophisticated is so expensive. Most people tell themselves they will start once they understand investing better. What they are really saying is that they would prefer the emotional comfort of more research to the financial discomfort of being a beginner. So they read, compare, rank, debate expense ratios as if they are chairing a Senate committee. Meanwhile, the one force that would actually help them, time, keeps walking away. You do not need a brilliant strategy to begin. You need a durable one. For most people, broad, low-cost index ownership is plenty. No drama, no heroics, no desperate need to prove that you are smarter than the market every Tuesday. Just consistent ownership of productive enterprise over a long period of time. With friction kept low and behavior kept steady, that is not glamorous enough for the internet, which is precisely why it works. Now let us talk about debt beyond the minimum payment track. This is where mathematics and psychology start wrestling. There are two famous ways to attack non-mortgage debt. One is the avalanche, highest interest. First, cold math efficient. The other is the snowball, smallest balance first. Faster emotional wins, less mathematically pure, but often more behaviorally effective. People argue about which one is best as though this were theology. I do not care which sermon you attend if it gets you out of bondage. If paying off the smallest balance first gives you visible progress and keeps your hand on the lever, use it. If targeting the ugliest interest rate first satisfies your need for rational efficiency, use it. What matters is that you stop treating revolving debt like weather. It is not weather. It is a claim on your future labor. High interest debt is one of the nastiest forms of negative compounding in modern life. People hear the word compounding and picture a smiling old man under a tree. They should also picture a predator, because compounding is morally neutral. At 12%, 15%, 22%, it will build for you or devour you with equal discipline. Debt payoff is not just cleanup, it is track clearance. Every balance you remove opens future cash flow. Every minimum payment you eliminate creates a choice point. That is why you must redirect those freed payments when a debt dies. Otherwise, the system simply reabsorbs the money into consumption and tells you to be grateful for feeling less stressed. Stress relief is not the same as capital formation. Then there is the next layer of ownership, tax-advantaged accounts, retirement vehicles where the government, for once, gives you rules that can actually help you if you respect them. A Roth-style structure is especially attractive because you pay the tax now and future qualified growth belongs to you, not partly to you. Not until the government changes its mood to you. It is like planting an orchard and keeping the fruit. In taxable accounts, you need patience because holding periods matter long. Term treatment is usually kinder than short-term churn. This is why the best investors do not move with the twitching speed of an anxious animal. They think in years because the tax code punishes fidgeting almost as reliably as the market does. But I want to be careful here. Tax efficiency is powerful. It is not magic. If your behavior is undisciplined, the account type will not save you. A beautiful route on paper still fails. If the operator keeps throwing switches at random, that brings me to the most important part of all. Automation. If your whole financial system depends on mood, then you do not have a system. You have a wish. Human beings love to tell themselves that next month they will be more disciplined, next month they will remember to move the money, next month they will skip the stupid spending, next month they will feel more mature. Next month is one of the most expensive phrases in the English language. Willpower fades, fatigue talks, convenience wins, burnout negotiates badly. So if you leave every payday to fresh human debate, consumption will keep winning the argument because consumption is immediate and the future is quiet. Automation solves that. When the paycheck lands, let it hit the checking account, then let the levers move automatically. The day after payday, route predetermined amounts to their tracks. Survival stays in the operating account. Debt payments go where they must go. Emergency reserves fill until the buffer is real. Employer match contributions happen without discussion. Investment flows go out before your ego can make a shopping list. Tax money, if you are self-employed, is separated before you mistake it for personal spending power. That is a switchyard run by rules, not hormones. I like a short delay after payday, not because the money needs philosophical reflection, but because operational systems should respect reality. Give the deposit a day to settle, then move cleanly repeatedly. Without ceremony, there is great peace in not arguing with yourself every 2 weeks. People underestimate how much of financial progress comes from removing decision points. Every avoided debate is energy saved. Every transfer that happens without needing your permission is one less chance for weakness to wear a clever disguise. But do not misunderstand me. Automation is not a shrine you build once and then ignore forever. A switchyard that never updates becomes dangerous in a different way. You get a raise. Good. Then some of that increase must be rerouted toward ownership, not absorbed entirely into lifestyle inflation. A debt disappears. Good. Then that freed payment must be reassigned, not turned into a silent consumption upgrade. Emergency reserves reach the target. Good. Then that flow gets redirected toward investing or another strategic objective. Tax needs change, housing changes, family changes. You update the map. Too many people build a decent system and then let it fossilize. They are on autopilot, but their flight plan belongs to an older version of their life. Money systems need review, not daily obsession, not neurotic dashboard checking, quarterly honesty, enough to make sure the routes still match reality. Now let me tell you what all this adds up to, because this is where the moral lesson sits. Most people say they want wealth. What they actually want is the emotional feeling of abundance without the operational discipline that abundance requires. They want to feel rich on payday instead of becoming rich over a decade. They want the reward before the routing. They want comfort before structure. They want identity before evidence. That instinct destroys them, because wealth is not built by occasional intensity. It is built by repeated directional accuracy. The same boring tracks month after month, while louder people laugh at how unexciting your system looks. You do not need financial drama. You need financial sequence. First, know what survival really costs. Second, protect your reputation by staying current and precise. Third, build reserves so chaos stops owning you. Fourth, capture free money and start ownership early. Fifth, clear expensive debt with a method you will actually follow. Sixth, use tax shelters intelligently where appropriate. Seventh, automate the whole thing, so your future is no longer dependent on your mood. That is the sequence. It is not sexy, it is not social, media friendly. It is not the kind of thing people brag about over dinner. It is simply how adults stop living as temporary employees of their own impulses. I have seen people with modest incomes become powerful because they respected this sequence. I have also seen high earners remain fragile because they never learned to route cash with intention. $100,000 of income can still disappear if the switchyard is run by appetite. $50,000 can build surprising strength if the tracks are set correctly and followed long enough. That is why I do not worship income the way many people do. Income matters, routing matters more than most people think. Salary can create motion, systems create direction, and direction is what produces freedom. Real freedom is not a luxury car. It is not a nicer apartment you barely use because you are always working to pay for it. It is not the brief dopamine hit of swiping your card without flinching. Freedom is the moment a surprise expense stops feeling like a moral emergency. Freedom is the moment you can say no to a bad boss because your reserves bought you breathing room. Freedom is the moment your investments begin to produce results that do not require you to wake up tired and do another shift, just to keep the lights on. Freedom is the moment payday stops feeling like rescue and starts feeling like reinforcement. That is the life you are actually trying to build, whether you admit it or not. So here is the test. The next time your paycheck hits, do not celebrate first. Do not browse first. Do not reward yourself first. Stand still for a moment and ask one ugly question: who controls the switchyard? If the answer is fatigue, appetite, habit, convenience, or silence, then you are not being paid. You are being processed. If the answer is a clear system, then every payday becomes a transfer of power from your present weakness to your future strength. Most people never make that turn. They keep treating income like confetti and wondering why life keeps feeling expensive. They keep calling chaos normal because normal is crowded. They keep handing a freight train of future options to the cheapest impulses in the room. You do not have to live that way. A paycheck is a train entering the yard. It does not care whether you are wise. It only responds to the track you set. Set it badly, and your life will keep rolling toward noise, dependency, and financial amnesia. Set it well, and month by month, year by year, that same ordinary paycheck can build reserves, ownership, stability, bargaining power, and a kind of quiet freedom that no purchase can fake. That door is in front of you every payday. Pull the wrong lever, and you will spend another decade telling yourself you never made enough. Pull the right one, and one day you will realize something that very few people ever do. The money did not change first. You did.